On the day of our college graduation, the campus belle handed me $4 million to be her contract husband for 3 years. But somewhere over these 3 years, I actually forgot about our little arrangement. Today, still half asleep, I crawled into her bed only for her to kick me right onto the floor. "Don't you dare touch me," she snapped. Just like that, completely tormented in both body and soul, I somehow survived 2,000 long days and nights. But today I finally hit my breaking point. Xiao Yuan, let's get a divorce. The peaceful morning vibe over breakfast instantly plummeted to freezing because of my sudden words. "Have you actually thought this through?" she asked, her voice cold. "If you're the one begging for a divorce, you have to pay me back every cent of that $4 million. And if you can't cough up $4 million, I'll send you right back to prison." Xiao Yuan's tone carried a sharp edge of threat. Clearly, she wasn't ready to pull the plug on our marriage just yet. 3 years had made her entirely too comfortable having a guy named Shu Yi at her beck and call, but I just smiled and nodded. "Yes, let's get a divorce. It really wouldn't be good to wait around until your precious ex comes back," I added softly. "For the past 3 years, thank you for taking care of me. As for the $4 million I owe you, I'll find a way to pay you back within 1 year. Do you have time today? Let's go handle the divorce paperwork this afternoon." Knowing her blindingly proud nature, Xiao Yuan absolutely wouldn't give me a second chance. And honestly, we didn't even need to wait for the afternoon. Barely 10 minutes after the Civil Affairs Bureau opened their doors, we walked right back out, officially strangers again. Xiao Yuan sped off in her car without even shooting me a single glance, leaving me standing out there on the curb with my eyes brimming with pure bitterness. But she hadn't even driven 200 meters, when a sudden phone call forced her to pull over to the side of the road. The second the call connected, a voice drifted over the line. It sounded familiar, yet painfully foreign. "Xiao Yuan, why did some guy answer your phone last night? I was so excited. I just wanted to tell you I'm coming back to the country soon." But after I poured my heart out, he just coldly replied, "Got it. Don't tell me you two have actually done the deed," the voice whined. Xiao Yuan scoffed. "Please keep your dirty thoughts to yourself. I accidentally left my phone on the first floor last night. Is there anything else? Because I'm incredibly busy." Hearing another woman's giggling voice echoing in the background on his end, Xiao Yuan quickly slammed the phone down. She suddenly felt like her brain must have been slammed in a door to have ever loved such a shameless playboy. Caught halfway between the fresh divorce and being utterly disgusted by Ziteng's antics, Xiao Yuan really couldn't muster up the energy to go into work. Vice President Wen, who had never skipped a day without a valid reason, miraculously played hooky and drove straight back to the Wen family mansion. The moment Xiao Yuan shoved the front door open, she marched straight into the master bedroom. Her mother, Chen Nuanshu, who hadn't even rolled out of bed yet, tilted her head to look at her precious daughter. Before she could speak, she was suddenly yanked into a crushing hug. "Mom, Shu Yi and I just got a divorce." By 11 in the morning, the Wen household was in chaos, and Xiao Yuan was forced to sit stiffly on the living room sofa, facing a brutal interrogation from her parents. Old Wen had always been a man who spoiled his child rotten. But today, he wasn't stepping up to protect his little girl at all. He just sat back and let his precious daughter get chewed out. "Xiao Yuan, you really don't know a good thing when you have it," her mother scolded. "I won't even bring up how you've constantly bullied poor Shu Yi. But how on earth could you just get a divorce? These past few years, your career has been absolute smooth sailing. Who do you think was secretly breaking his back to help you behind the scenes? All those massive projects of yours. Which one wasn't painstakingly finished by Shu Yi in the dead of night? He took care of your every single need around this house. You completely wasted Shu Yi's brilliant talents. He meticulously cooks your breakfast and dinner every single day. He draws your bath water for you. Heck, even your intimate underwear is washed by Shu Yi. And I wonder who exactly told me just last time that it's so incredibly nice having a real man around the house. And now you have the nerve to sit there and tell me you're divorced. Who? Shu Yi must have gathered lifetimes of terrible karma to end up tied down to a real piece of work like you, being furiously scolded like this. Xiao Yuan couldn't swallow her pride any longer. She puffed out her chest and furiously fired back. "I am your actual daughter. Or did you forget and think Shu Yi is your biological son? Let me make this crystal clear. Shu Yi was the one who demanded the divorce. Your precious daughter is the one who just got dumped." Old Wen, who had been quietly sitting on the sidelines, instantly lost his mind. He angrily clamoured around, ripping out his phone to interrogate the kid. This was his Wen family's daughter. How in the world was she not good enough for that little brat? Unfortunately, before the call could even ring, he was viciously shouted down by his wife, Chen Nuan Shu. You seriously have the nerve to call and interrogate Shu Yi right now? Aren't you terrified Shu Yi will just flat out say that your precious Xiao Yuan has another man living rent-free in her heart? Isn't she just desperately waiting for that little punk from the Du family to crawl back? Do you honestly think I don't see it? Or that Shu Yi doesn't know? Xiao Yuan, let me tell you right here and right now, if you dare get back together with that Du family trash, I will personally strip away every single share of company stock you currently hold. Then we'll just see if that Du family punk kicks you straight to the curb. Xiao Yuan scoffed. Those shares belong to my dad. Go ahead and ask my dad if he actually dares to hand them over to you. Old Wen, do you want to practice some military-style martial arts with me? Chen Nuanshu dangerously glared at Wen Shu. This time, the old man stood firmly on his terrifying wife's side. He frowned deeply and spoke softly to Xiao Yuan. I am on the exact same page as your mother here. We will absolutely never agree to you being with Du Ziteng. Xiao Yuan shot her head up, glaring back at her parents with furious, tear-filled eyes. She gritted her teeth so hard they nearly cracked and screamed, Right now, it's Shu Yi who doesn't want your daughter anymore. I wasn't the one who dumped Shu Yi. Last night, Dan called me. He said he's finally coming back to the States and that he'll marry me the second he gets back. Shui answered the phone, and guess what? This morning, he demanded a divorce. So what's the point of screaming at me? If you think Shui is so damn great, why don't you go marry him? Facing Xiaoan's little rebellion, her mother, Chen Nuanchu, clearly didn't give a damn. She shot her daughter a cold, mocking glare. You really think your cheap little tricks can fool your own mother? Da-en is coming back? Is he now? Starting tomorrow, I am selling your house for half price. Since you're so eager to be divorced, pack your bags and move back home. And if you dare step foot in this house past 9 p.m., I will personally break your legs. You can date whoever the hell you want in the future, but you absolutely cannot be with Doi Tang. I'm laying down the law right now, and you are not going anywhere today. I'm going to find Shui right this second to ask him exactly why he wanted this divorce. Xiaoan, you better pray to God that Shui doesn't tell me the truth. With that, Chen Nuanchu stood up. She shot a dead-eyed glare at old Wen. If he dared to let Wen Nuan out of that house, he could kiss his peaceful life goodbye. Coming from a hardcore military background, Chen Nuanchu never beat around the bush. Nor did she ever use soft, gentle words to coddle Xiaoan. Old Wen already played the role of the pushover dad, so if she wasn't a bit more ruthless, no one in this house would be able to control this wild girl. Chen Nuanchu marched back to her room and slammed a property deed onto the table. She glared at Xiaoan. If you don't want your second uncle to send literal troops to drag you back here, then stay home and behave. I am selling that house today, and then I'm tracking down Shui. Until then, do whatever the hell you want. I swear I must be adopted. Go find your precious golden child, Shui. Chen Nuanchu completely ignored Wen Nuan's tantrum. She ripped open the front door and stormed out. Meanwhile, I was wandering the scorching streets like a lost dog, with absolutely nowhere to go. Suddenly, the phone in my hand buzzed. Seeing the caller ID, flash mother-in-law, cold sweat instantly drenched my forehead. I answered the phone with trembling hands. Hello? Hello? You little brat. Have I been smiling at you too much lately? Say hello one more time, I dare you. I will call the military right now and have them shoot you on sight, you little bastard. Mom, I'm sorry, I was wrong. That's a good boy. It's noon. You haven't eaten yet, have you? I'm waiting for you at Bashin Kitchen. We need to have a little chat about this sudden divorce with Xiaoan. I am giving you exactly 10 minutes, and if you don't show up, well, you know I'll send the troops to drag you here. 10 minutes! I'll be there even if it literally kills me! The summer heat was absolutely brutal. Unable to catch a single cab, I sprinted the entire way there like my life depended on it. When I burst into the private room, my terrifying mother-in-law was just pulling out her phone, clearly about to call in a hit on me. Chen Nuanchu looked at me as I stood there, panting heavily. She gave a faint nod. Not bad. Even after the divorce, you still know how to show your mother-in-law some respect. Now tell me, why exactly did you divorce Wen Nuan? Think very carefully before you open your mouth. Because if I don't like the answer, I might actually beat you to death. Staring death in the face, I panicked and lied. I told her I had a problem in the bedroom department that I was totally infertile. Her response, fine, let's go to the hospital right now. I'll call Xiaoan this instant and tell her to come hold your hand. Oh my God, I was completely, utterly helpless against this woman. I definitely could not let her drag me to a hospital. If she found out I was faking it, I would actually be dead meat. Defeated, I let out a heavy sigh. I slumped into the chair and whispered, look, my marriage to Xiaoan, it was just a business transaction. Back then, I was in deep trouble. My mum desperately needed $400,000 for a life-saving surgery. I had absolutely no other choice. I had to beg Xiaoan to save me. We only got married because she had total financial leverage over me. My job was just to help her deal with you and her dad. But now, the contract is officially up. I can't hold Xiaoan back anymore. I really don't have a choice. I knew trying to play smart with my mother-in-law would only guarantee an even more painful death. So, I had to come clean and just spill the complete, honest truth. The funny thing is, even though I took all the blame onto myself during the confession, my mother-in-law's focus completely bypassed the whole fake marriage thing. Instead, she frowned, laser-focused on one tiny detail. Excuse me, am I very old? No, you're not old at all. You missed a word, boy. Mom, you're not old at all. I swear, whenever we go out, everyone says you and Xiaoan look exactly like sisters. Chen Nuanchu looked mildly satisfied with that. Then, she finally got back to the point. A contract marriage? I'll just consider these past 3 years as a long dating phase. Honestly, that kid Xiaoan does have quite a few massive flaws. She's a total slob, yet she constantly runs her mouth about being some kind of neat freak. And she has absolutely zero real-world life skills. Aside from her fancy degree and a pretty face, the girl has zero redeeming qualities. So tell me, are you seriously saying you don't like my Xiaoan even a tiny bit? I mean, come on, after 3 whole years, even if you kept a stray dog by your side, you'd at least develop some feelings for it, right? And I'm not saying you're the dog, I mean Xiaoan is. My terrifyingly fierce mother-in-law made sure the cold sweat on my forehead never stopped dripping. I frantically wiped my brow and let out an awkward chuckle. Mom, you know my background. If she didn't have total leverage over me, a rich, beautiful girl like Xiaoan would never even glance in my direction. Marriage is the kind of thing that requires matching social status, right? Besides, even if I did fall in love with Xiaoan, it's completely useless. She's already in love with someone else. You really mean that little brat from the Du family? Isn't Deziting just going after Wen Nuan for her shares in the Changxiang group? Only a complete idiot like Wen Nuan would think her precious Ziting actually has feelings for her. And you didn't even tell me you two were getting a divorce. What the hell are we supposed to do now? With Du Ziting coming back, that foolish girl is going to throw herself right into the fire like a moth to a flame. Don't tell me we're seriously going to hand over old Wen's life's work to the Du family. Damn it, I really regret not having a son. I didn't dare utter a single word to that. Nodding would be a death sentence, and shaking my head wouldn't end well for me either. But luckily, my fierce mother-in-law didn't make things too difficult for me. She just pulled 100,000 yuan out of her bag and tossed it right at me. A divorce is a divorce. I, Madam Chen, am not some stubborn old-fashioned boomer. For the past 3 years, you've called me Mom. Even if you're no longer my son-in-law, you're still half a son to me. Wen Nuan is just being petty. If you walk out of here with less than 10,000 yuan to your name, then I've failed as a mother. Take this cash and use it for now. And don't you even think about leaving this city. If anything ever happens to old Wen and me, we're still going to need you to come help us out. If you dare refuse, I'll have my military buddies shoot you on sight. I panicked. No, I definitely won't refuse. Taking someone's money definitely makes you beholden to them, and this wasn't exactly spare change either. But honestly, I was too terrified not to take it. I had experienced my mother-in-law's terrifying wrath for way more than just a day or two. While we were stuffing our faces, Madam Chen suddenly spoke up again. Once Wen Nuan can finally command true respect at the Changxiang group, with my mouth completely full of food, I just nodded along. The more she looked at me, her former son-in-law, the more she seemed to like me. Handsome, a totally perfect match for Wen Nuan, and extremely talented. She narrowed her sharp eyes at me and flashed a smile. So, do you want to come back and work for the Changxiang group? I can easily have old Wen make you the head of the planning department. I just smiled bitterly and shook my head. Mom, please stop joking around. If I go crawling back to Changshan now, Wen Nuan will just think I'm still relentlessly chasing after her. Since we're divorced, we really need to keep our distance. Besides, the regular employees at Changshan might not know about my marriage to Wen Nuan, but the higher-ups have definitely seen my face. Plus, that other guy's coming back. No matter how you spin it, I'm still Wen Nuan's ex-husband. Watching my ex-wife parade around with another man, that's bound to feel pretty awful, so please just spare my miserable life. Fine. Madam Chen's expression clearly showed a deep sense of disappointment as she let out a soft sigh. You! That stubborn little bit of pride in your bones, you've used it all on us, but you never showed a single ounce of it to that little fool Wen Nuan. She still foolishly believes that all your skills were taught by her. Well, since you insist on being stubborn, I won't force you. But listen to me, now that you and Wen Nuan are divorced, don't you dare rush into another marriage. If you meet a girl you like, tell Mom first. If playing nice doesn't work on her, we'll just absolutely crush her with money. I quickly replied, I won't be dating again anytime soon. I need to sort out my own massive problems first and buy a house in this city before I even consider romance. Mom, shouldn't you go play your mahjong? That's Aunt Xiao's fourth call today. As we were speaking, Madam Chen's phone started ringing again. She answered it and instantly started screaming. Rush, rush, rush. Are you trying to rush me to my grave? I'm eating lunch with my precious son-in-law, and you're rushing me like a maniac. Just you wait. I'm coming over right now to win all your money. Is little Ye next to you? Bring him along. Let big sister dote on him a little bit. Haha, little Ye is such an amazing cook, and your brother-in-law isn't even home tonight. Oh, please, you are totally shameless. Don't you dare try to seduce my son-in-law. There are plenty of other male dogs out there for you. Hey kid, your Aunt Xiao is asking if you want to tag along. No, no way, Aunt Xiao. I have a ton of things to do this afternoon. I need to go buy groceries for Wen Nuan. Saying that, I suddenly froze in my tracks. It turns out old habits really do die hard. The elegant lady on the other end of the phone gritted her teeth and angrily yelled, Madam Chen, get your butt over here and prepare to die. After that, my fierce mother-in-law finally left, driving off in a very low-key Audi A6. Standing alone on the streets again, my face was twisted with bitterness. But then, I firmly clenched my fists. A brand new life was about to begin. First things first. Time to buy some smokes. My mindset was actually pretty optimistic. After buying a pack of cigarettes, I marched straight into a real estate agency to look for a decent apartment. In the end, I decided to treat myself and chose a slightly pricey top-floor duplex apartment. A crushing debt of $4 million isn't something you can just save up for by being overly frugal. If I wanted to pay it all off, relying solely on saving pennies simply wasn't going to cut it. Meanwhile, on the other side of town, Wen Nuan was already teetering on the absolute verge of a mental breakdown. Her beloved house had just been sold out from under her. Her mother had casually informed her that she completely lost the house to Aunt Xiao while playing a heated game of mahjong. She told her that if she had any complaints about it, she could go take it up with the woman surnamed Xiao. This was the exact same Aunt Xiao who had forcefully made Wen Nuan call her big sister since they were just kids. Wen Nuan had always strictly maintained a policy of keeping a respectful distance from her, but this wildly disrespectful elder would constantly chase after her, inappropriately asking about how my stamina was in bed. This totally flustered Wen Nuan, who was so completely inexperienced that she didn't even know how to begin answering a question like that. When it came to that kind of stuff, Wen Nuan was as pure and innocent as a blank sheet of paper. Right now, she was just sitting on her bed, completely spacing out as her world crumbled. Did she actually love Du Zaytek? Or was he just a convenient emotional crutch? The man had been living overseas for years, practically a ghost. The brutal truth? Time had already washed everything away. Back when we first tied the knot, those long-distance calls would drag on late into the night. But as the years bled by, those late nights shrank to barely an hour. And eventually, she'd just hang up on him the second I called out that dinner was ready. Whenever that time of the month hit and she was absolutely miserable, I was the one waking up at dawn. I'd simmer a hot bowl of fish head tofu soup, or maybe a rich pork rib stew, just to soothe her pain. I'd even pack a thermos full of fresh ginger and goji berry tea for her to take to the office, every single time. In a flash, Xia Yuan felt completely lost. The image of Du Zaytek in her mind was fading, getting blurrier and blurrier by the second. Instead, it was my face getting sharper and clearer. When Xia Yuan finally cracked under the pressure, it drove her crazy that she was the one who actually got dumped by me. There was absolutely no way, under these frustrating circumstances, that she'd allow herself to keep obsessing over a man like me. Feeling like she was on the absolute edge of a total nervous breakdown, Xia Yuan frantically snatched up her keys and phone, storming right out of the house. Standing inside a dimly lit bar, Xia Yuan stared at the gritty, unfamiliar surroundings. She had to swallow her pride just to step foot in a chaotic place like this, a spot her heart deeply despised. But she desperately needed to blow off some steam, and the more Xia Yuan threw back those drinks, the hotter her furious anger burned. How on earth could she be so pathetic as to sit here obsessing over that jerk, Su Yi? Okay, so maybe his cooking was pretty delicious, he kept the house spotless, washed her clothes perfectly, was undeniably clever, and yeah, he was pretty handsome. But seriously, what other redeeming qualities did that guy even have? The absolute worst part? This jerk actually had the guts to demand a divorce and dump me. The heavily intoxicated Xia Yuan didn't even realize that her old flame, Duzetek, had been completely wiped from her memory. Wine doesn't intoxicate people. People intoxicate themselves. Well, hello there, gorgeous. Think you could give a guy like me the chance to buy you a drink? Completely losing track of which number this creep was, in the long line of guys hitting on her, Xia Yuan just wanted to be left alone with her liquor. She slowly turned her head, glaring at this guy who looked to be around 41. Taking in his head-to-toe designer outfit, Xia Yuan scowled and snapped, "My annual salary is well into the six figures. I casually wear watches worth over $1 million. Oh, and I have relatives sitting pretty at the deputy bureau level. So, tell me, do I look like a woman who needs you to buy her a cheap drink?" The middle-aged man just gave a stiff smile, turning on his heel to leave. From her icy tone alone, he instantly knew this fierce woman wasn't asking him a question. She was making it painfully clear she already owned every single thing he used to show off. Just as Xia Yuan stumbled up, ready to finally leave, another cocky young punk swaggered over to shoot his shot. "Hey, give me some face, babe. My boys over there are all watching. Come on over and knock back a few drinks with us. It's way too lonely sitting here all by yourself." "You've got some seriously killer legs, sis. You wouldn't mind if I gave them a little feel, right? Get lost." Splash! Xia Yuan aggressively hurled her glass of wine directly into the sleazy punk's face. In the distance, that wealthy middle-aged man stopped in his tracks, sitting back down nearby. He was clearly hovering, eagerly waiting for the perfect moment to swoop in and play the classic hero saving the beauty. Completely humiliated in front of the whole bar, the young punk instantly dropped his playful act. He furiously gritted his teeth, spat out a nasty curse, and raised his fist to strike her. But that hand never fell. Out of nowhere, his wrist was snatched mid-air. A chubby guy materialized right beside the thug, Shen Zhen. "Trying to get violent in here? Are you begging to be carried out in a body bag? Not everyone in this city is someone you can touch. Got it?" From across the room, Shen Zhen's rowdy gang realized things had gone south. One by one, they jumped out of their seats and aggressively marched over. "See that chubby guy? Take a real good look." After violently wrenching Shen Zhen's arm and tossing him aside like trash, he flashed a warm, gentle smile at Xia Yuan. "Sister-in-law, what in the world are you doing in a rough place like this, all by yourself?" The totally plastered Xia Yuan stared up at the chubby guy with completely dazed, confused eyes. She drunkenly tilted her head, curiously slurring out, "Su Yi's? Little brother? Sworn brother? My last name is Sunday, just call me Fubar. This bar is actually run by my aunt's sister and a few buddies. I basically live here. Sister-in-law, did you drive yourself? It's way too late and totally unsafe out there. It'd be a nightmare if these filthy bastards tried to pull something sketchy on you. I just called brother Su Yi. He should be rushing through those doors any minute now." "Su Yi is coming." Xia Yuan had absolutely no idea why her chest suddenly tightened with pure panic. Trembling all over, she desperately tried to bolt for the exit. Why was it that the more she wanted to avoid this maddening man, the more impossible it was to escape him? Xia Yuan frantically tried to leave, but the thugs she just provoked definitely weren't going to let that slide. Screaming and demanding an apology, the gang closed in. Sun Fubar furiously scowled, grabbing a heavy wooden chair and pointing it right at the troublemakers as he roared, "Don't you dare push your luck, you ungrateful little bastards. You seriously think I won't crack your skulls open? Why? Run upstairs and tell the bosses to stop their game. Some punks are trying to wreck the place. Listen up. My sister-in-law's uncle is a big shot at the city's public security bureau. Don't even think about starting a brawl here. Can you cheap losers who split the bill even afford to pay for my broken furniture? The hostile crowd froze, suddenly realizing they had just picked a fight with the absolute worst guy possible. Feeling a terrifying chill run down their spines, the punks tucked their tails between their legs and scurried away into the shadows. Watching from the sidelines, the middle-aged man realized his golden opportunity to play the heroic savior was completely ruined. He felt pretty bitter about it, but he definitely wasn't in a rush to leave just yet. He desperately wanted to see who the man behind this stunning woman really was. Just as Xiao Nuan stumbled, barely keeping her balance to walk out of the bar, she crashed right into a guy walking in. I quickly caught Xiao Nuan, sweeping her up into a princess carry. Seeing that I had her safe, Sun Fubo just grinned and turned to leave the bar. The nosy onlookers immediately backed off, realizing her man had finally arrived. You actually drove here after drinking? I asked, my voice tight. If Sun Fubo hadn't tipped me off, were you just planning to drive home trashed and coming to a sketchy place like this? If I wasn't here today, did you even stop to think about what could have happened to you? Hiding your face won't do a damn thing right now. Cradled securely in my arms in a princess carry, Xiao Nuan covered her face with both hands. Way too ashamed to let me see what she looked like. Seeing her like that, I let out a heavy sigh, too exhausted to even bother scolding her anymore. I turned on my heel and marched straight out of that loud bar. However, the absolute second we stepped out the door, the freezing night wind hit Xiao Nuan and she threw up, all over my shirt. In that exact, disgusting instant, my sanity was literally on the verge of a total breakdown. I gritted my teeth, physically trembling with pure, unadulterated anger. I swear, I should drag you straight to your mum right now. Let her see exactly how you act. The literal second we finalized our divorce, you came straight to a filthy bar just to get totally wasted. Hand over the car keys. Xiao Nuan stared up at me in a drunken, blurry daze, stubbornly struggling in my grip as she slurred, "She is my mum, not yours. Fine then, I will drive you right back to your mum's house." I don't have the house keys. Xiao Nuan, were you just not planning on going home at all tonight? I was genuinely losing my temper now, my voice raising in frustration. Sensing my anger, Xiao Nuan immediately shrunk down, hiding her face in my chest like a guilty little kid who knew she had messed up. Not even a minute later, I heard her quietly choking back, heartbreaking sobs. "Su Yi, I don't have a home anymore. My mum literally sold my house." Left with absolutely no other choice, I had to drag her back to my newly rented tiny apartment. After being forced to sleep on a hard, cramped couch all night, I woke up feeling like my entire body had been beaten with a baseball bat. But honestly, what hurt my soul even more? My brand new, untouched, comfortable bedding had been completely hijacked by her before I even got a chance to use it. I was violently jolted awake by a blaring phone. It wasn't even dawn outside, but Xiao Nuan's phone was vibrating and ringing off the damn hook on the coffee table. Completely groggy and half asleep, I blindly grabbed the phone and answered it. Instantly, her mother's ear-piercing, legendary lion's roar blasted through the speaker, accompanied by her very warm morning greeting. "The very second you get back here, you little brat, I am going to skin you alive. I specifically told you absolutely no staying out all night. And yet you dare break the rule on day one." Patiently waiting for her mother's raging tantrum to finally run out of steam, I quietly whispered, "Mom, it's Su Yi. Xiao Nuan is safe. She is with me." Click. The call was instantly, ruthlessly hung up. I just sat there in the dark, staring at the phone screen in total, utter confusion. Right at that second, a text message suddenly popped up. "Lao Wen and I went on a vacation. Just let Xiao Nuan stay over at your place. I feel completely at ease with her being there. Oh, and if you dare call me back, I will literally beat you down with military martial arts." I sat there, staring blankly at the threatening text on the phone. My crazy ex-mother-in-law clearly wasn't worried about Xiao Nuan's safety at all. But then again, I suppose there really wasn't much to worry about. We had already lived together for 3 whole years after all. While I was still sitting there completely dazed, Xiao Nuan quietly crept up right behind my shoulder, snooping on the screen. "You know, you never once checked my phone before we got divorced. And even when D-Tang called me, you never once asked about him. So why start aggressively checking my phone now, right after the divorce? Need me to help you look through it? She teased playfully. I slowly turned my head to glare at Xiao Nuan, who hadn't even bothered to wash the sleep out of her eyes yet. Closing my eyes, I took a very long, very deep breath to calm down. Xiao Nuan, I swear, if you ever dare drink like that again, I am definitely telling your mum. But I'm hungry, she whined, quickly deflecting. Xiao Nuan completely and deliberately dodged my angry drinking threat, confidently snatching her phone right back from my hand. Then, right in front of my face, she boldly opened her phone's blocked contacts list. Sitting right there at the top, freshly blocked, was D-Tang's phone number. Satisfied, she casually tossed the phone onto the couch cushion, hopped up, and happily skipped off to the bathroom to wash up. Watching her cheerful little bounce as she walked away, I felt a really strange, heavy feeling knotting up inside my chest. Think about it, we hadn't even been legally divorced for a single day, and we were already cohabiting all over again. Hearing her softly humming a tune in the bathroom, I let out a heavy sigh, stood up, and dragged myself to the kitchen. While angrily frying up some eggs for breakfast, I yelled out to relay her mother's ridiculous message. "Hey, your mom and Lao Wen went out traveling. She said they purposely took the house keys with them. Your mum wants you to just stay here with me. I don't mind at all. It's not like we haven't lived together before, right? Su Yi, hurry up with the food. I actually have to go to work today." Hearing her shout those incredibly shameless words, I was half tempted to grab the hot frying pan, march straight into the bathroom, and fight her. Seriously, what the hell was this nightmare? We were officially divorced. Our fake marriage contract was completely broken and voided. I was currently suffocating while saddled with 4 million in debt. And yet, somehow, we were living together again. My inner voice screamed at me to rebel, to kick her out into the streets. Instead, I just took another deep breath. You hurry up and wash your face. I need to use the sink and head out too. I've got an important job interview today at Yahello. Xiao Nuan poked half of her wet head out of the bathroom door, looking completely confused. But Su Yi, you even washed my dirty clothes for me when we got back last night. Hey, how about you just don't go to work at all? Just stay home and be my personal nanny. No freaking way. Stay home and watch my ex-wife and her old flame get all romantically tangled up. Hell no. Even if ours was just a fake contract marriage, I still desperately needed to protect whatever shred of manly dignity I had left, right? Old flame? Oh, you mean Ditang? Su Yi. Oh my god, you're totally jealous, aren't you? Su Yi, do you actually like me? I stayed completely, stubbornly silent. But Xiao Nuan just kept relentlessly pressing the issue. Feeling completely helpless against her, I carried the hot plates of breakfast out of the kitchen. Su Yi! Look at me! If you just admit that you're jealous, I swear I won't choose Ditang. Fine. Yes, I am jealous. But right this second, you need to sit down and eat your damn breakfast. Got it? And there is one more very, very unfortunate reality for me, which is that I have to start taking care of your messy self all over again. Excuse me? That is your absolute privilege, Su Yi. You seriously have no idea. Do you know how many handsome guys tried to hit on me at the bar last night? Bickering back and forth like we always did, neither of us realized one incredibly important thing. The biggest twist? Our entire dynamic completely flipped after the divorce. I was totally done bowing down and being a pushover for Xiao Nuan. And honestly, Xiao Nuan finally stopped treating me like her personal nanny. She was practically sweating, terrified I was going to interrogate her about what really happened at that bar. At the exact same time, just hearing me admit I was a little jealous secretly put her in an amazing mood. It totally swept away her dark clouds, and suddenly she wasn't fighting the idea of living here anymore. Meanwhile, my inner self was screaming in pure agony. I was screwed way worse than Xiao's dad, but I still had this massive mountain of 4 million in debt that I desperately had to pay back. Right in the middle of eating, my phone buzzed. It was a reply from Rangyao Group, letting me know that if I had the time, I could swing by for an interview today. Without skipping a beat, I dragged my exhausted self through the city, bumping and swaying all the way to the massive headquarters of Rangyao Group. Just as I puffed out my chest, ready to stride forward and absolutely crush this new challenge, a massive, bright red Ford Raptor brushed literally an inch past my nose and sped off like a maniac. All my hype and initial confidence instantly terrified right out of my soul. By the time my heart stopped hammering and I snapped back to reality, that beast of a truck had already parked way off in the distance. The door popped open, and a woman stepped out of the driver's seat. She was rocking a skin-tight black bodycon skirt and a pair of lethal 3-inch high heels. Sure, this woman had an unbelievably hot figure and dressed bold as hell, but right then, in my eyes, this crazy chick was a literal murderer who just nearly ended my life. But before I could even storm over there and give her a piece of my mind, the hot-figured chick jogged off, completely disappearing through the grand glass doors of Rangyao Group. I pinched my chin, narrowing my eyes as I muttered to myself, "Tsk, tsk. That crazy chick does not seem like a good person at all." Fast forward to the interview room inside Rangyao Group's HR department, where I found myself sitting stiffly on a cold, formal chair. Staring me down from across the table were 3 strict-looking interviewers, 2 guys and 1 woman. Honestly, the whole intense setup felt exactly like getting interrogated under the bright lights at a police station. The female interviewer sitting dead center broke the silence first. "Please start with a brief self-introduction. My surname is Xiao. I am the HR manager here. I will be asking you the primary questions, and these 2 gentlemen will evaluate your answers and past experience to ultimately decide if we can build a solid working relationship. Here at Rangyao Group, we like to think differently. All of our employees are genuinely considered partners moving forward with the company. There really is no strict, suffocating employer and employee hierarchy tying you down. Additionally, when compared to other massive, soulless conglomerates, Rangyao Group operates in a much more humane, understanding way. Now, let me quickly introduce our core company policies so you can decide if you actually want to proceed with this interview." Manager Xiao's expression was incredibly gentle, and surprisingly, her tone wasn't the least bit arrogant or condescending. That welcoming vibe instantly made me feel at ease in the hot seat. After listening closely to the company's generous policies, I confidently stated that I was totally on board with them. Manager Xiao flashed a warm smile, her eyes curving into friendly crescents. Compared to places like Changshan Group, we here at Rangyao pride ourselves on treating our people so much more humanely. Showing up for work shouldn't feel like you're signing your life away on some medieval slave contract after all. Now, let's dive in. I am going to ask you a few important questions. Just as you need to feel fully satisfied working with us, we obviously need to be completely satisfied with you. First up, please go ahead and introduce yourself. I returned her polite smile and replied in a steady, confident voice. My name is Su Yi, Han ethnicity, 25 years old and recently divorced. I bring 3 solid years of hands-on experience from the planning department over at Changshan Group. During my time there, I spearheaded a few small projects, and ironically, I even participated in some strategic planning for Rangyao Group. To be completely transparent, my highest level of completed education is just high school. During my freshman year of college, my family suffered a sudden tragic accident, so I had no choice but to drop out. She leaned in slightly. May I boldly ask the exact reason for your recent divorce? I didn't flinch. Honestly, there was just a massive, unbridgeable gap in our family backgrounds. I just didn't want to hold her back anymore. She nodded slowly, then hit me with the big one. If you were asked right here, right now, to come up with a tactical plan to counter Ranjang World, where exactly would you start? I smirked slightly. Honestly, I really don't think it's even necessary to target Ranjang World. At the end of the day, it's just a basic brand taking the cheapest low-end route. Their main, core customer base mostly consists of middle-aged folks and elderly bargain hunters anyway. Ranjang World is literally nothing more than a desperate method to try and save the dying Changxiang department store. A forced, messy pivot, really. Rangyao department store, on the other hand, primarily relies heavily on high-end jewelry stores and premium luxury counters to draw in real revenue. There is absolutely no need to imitate a cheap gimmick like Ranjang World, and honestly, the results wouldn't look too good for us anyway. She seemed impressed. Fair point. Anyway, just one final question for you. Why exactly did you decide to leave Changshan Group? I chuckled lightly. Does it was way too far from my house actually count as a valid reason? She laughed. All right, we will absolutely give you a definitive answer by tomorrow evening at the very latest. We genuinely look forward to potentially working with you in the future, Mr. Su. Stepping out of that high-pressure room, I was honestly still walking in a bit of a surreal daze. But with one foot already out the heavy door, I suddenly spun right back around and asked a burning question about that crazy red truck downstairs. Hey, is that red Raptor parked outside your company's official vehicle? The exact second those words left my mouth, the three confident interviewers instantly exchanged incredibly awkward, nervous glances. Manager Xiao nervously stood up, asking with a strained voice, You weren't physically hurt, were you, Mr. Su? That truck does indeed belong to the company. It's just that I cut her off, I get it. Let me be clear. When I finally see the reckless owner of that massive truck, I am going to slap them twice across the face. Don't blame me for being rough about it. That crazy chick was driving in 3-inch heels and literally almost ran me over flat. Without waiting for a response, I confidently turned and left, leaving the three dumbfounded interviewers staring at each other in sheer terrified dismay. They honestly weren't sure if they should officially record my final explosive threat. Well, it is definitely not the first time our bossy little princess has recklessly driven in high heels, one guy muttered. Yeah, plus. Literally everyone in this entire company knows you never ever cross the main plaza around 9 in the morning. You absolutely cannot afford to zone out. You have to strictly use the side pedestrian walkway if you value your life. Manager Xiao let out a long, heavy sigh. Anyway, I actually think he's pretty good. We can definitely keep him around on a trial basis. The company already enforces a strict 1-month probation period anyway, right? It will be clearly written in his contract. If things go south within a month, he can always be dismissed without any cause. As for almost getting flattened by that car, let's just call it a twisted little welcoming gift from our unhinged corporate princess. After all, surviving a near-death experience is practically a rite of passage at the glorious Rang Yao group. Standing at the elevator, my heart was still hammering against my ribs. I couldn't help but wonder, was this instant karma for finalizing my divorce? Literally 1 second after signing the papers, Chen Nuangshu chews me out, and then her spoiled sister, Xiao Nuan, decides to crash at my place. Add to that almost becoming roadkill this morning, and totally bombing this job interview. My life is officially a joke. The elevator doors slid open. Lost in my miserable thoughts, I took 1 step forward, only to crash straight into something incredibly soft. Before my eyes could even focus, wham! A heavy fist slammed right into my gut, followed by an ear-splitting shriek that rattled my brain. Watch where you're going, you blind creep, a woman screamed. Trying to cop a feel? Do you have a freaking death wish? Before I could even gasp for air, she grabbed a handful of my hair and yanked hard. Oh, hell no! Blinding rage took over, and I reached right back, grabbing a fistful of her hair in return. The crazy lady let out a blood-curdling screech and drove her stiletto heel viciously into my foot. I howled in absolute agony. Blinking away the tears, I finally got a good look at my attacker. No freaking way. It was the exact same psycho who almost ran me over earlier. Tell me what department you're in. I'm firing your ass this exact second. Let go of me, she shrieked. But instead of letting go, she yanked my roots even harder. Well, I never claimed to be a perfect gentleman, so I definitely didn't hold back either. Gritting my teeth, I snarled right back. I don't even work for your damn company. You almost killed me in the parking lot. I was just wondering where to find you, you lunatic. Our little deathmatch instantly drew a massive crowd. The three interviewers came rushing over in an absolute panic. They recognized her voice immediately. When the HR manager, Xiao, saw us literally at each other's throats, her jaw dropped. Shu Yi, let go. Quickly. General Manager Lu, you need to let go too. Please. The whole floor is watching. Sir, please let go first. General Manager Lu is a lady. Have some mercy. Manager Xiao frantically tried to pry our death grips apart. But completely out of left field, this crazy boss lady didn't back down. Instead, she opened her mouth, lunged forward, and literally tried to bite my neck like a rabid dog. Seeing this absolute madness, Manager Xiao threw herself between us. After practically begging on her knees, she finally got General Manager Lu to release her jaws. Panting and completely disheveled, the two of us just glared daggers at each other. Lu Ruian even bent down, ready to rip off her shoe and hurl it right at my head. Manager Xiao tackled her arm just in time, desperately trying to calm the furious boss down while wildly signaling for me to get the hell out of there. She frantically mouthed that she would call me later to formally apologize on the general manager's behalf. I let out a cold, spiteful scoff and stepped back into the elevator. What absolute garbage luck! As the doors closed, Lu Ruian furiously fixed her messy hair. Manager Xiao, do you know that punk? She hissed. Manager Xiao nervously helped straighten her boss's skirt and nodded softly. General Manager Lu, he came in for a job interview today. He's actually the guy you almost ran over downstairs. Lu Ruian sneered. Oh, I know. Seeing handsome guys just pisses me off. I can look, but I can't touch. If I don't run them over, what's the point of letting them breathe my air? He interviewed. Good. Tell him to start work tomorrow, pulling my hair and trying to cop a feel. Just watch how I torture that bastard to death. With that chilling threat, Lu Ruian strutted away. As she left, she completely ignored her image, hiking up her skirt to yank at her safety shorts underneath. The surrounding employees were absolutely fuming at her behavior, but not a single soul dared to speak up. The company was honestly top tier, except for this tyrannical general manager who gave everyone the creeps. But right after I left the building, my phone buzzed. A text message. I was hired. The message told me I was officially accepted and could start work the day after tomorrow, bright and early on Monday. I just needed to pick up the onboarding paperwork at the front desk, but my gut was screaming that I was a helpless sheep walking straight into a tiger's den. Still, I couldn't say no. Infiltrating Rang Yao Group was the very first step in my master plan, and by far the most crucial. Only here could I seize the opportunity to showcase my true talents and claw my way up. Back home, things weren't much better. Living with Xiao Nuan for 3 years had completely shattered every beautiful romantic fantasy I ever had about women. Seriously, why is a single woman's room always such a toxic wasteland? Thinking of Xiao Nuan's mess, I called my mother-in-law to ask when she and my father-in-law were coming back. The call finally connected. Xiao Yi, your mum is busy playing mahjong right now. We're over in Sanya. Hearing the loud, obnoxious clatter of the automatic mahjong table in the background, my blood pressure instantly spiked. What a pathetic excuse. The truth? Those two old folks just didn't want Xiao Nuan moving back home and ruining their peaceful retirement. But honestly, I didn't dare force her to go back either. I still had to maintain some face for Lorwyn and my mother-in-law. Plus, I guess I had to leave Xiao Nuan with a shred of dignity too. After all, I was the one who pulled the trigger and demanded the divorce. Thinking about dealing with Xiao Nuan, my already miserable life felt like it was plunging into pure darkness. Who in their right mind would have guessed that the strict germophobic vice president of Chang'an Company lived exactly like a filthy pig behind closed doors? This spoiled little princess taught me the true horrific meaning of never lifting a finger. Just thinking about her disgusting habits brings frustrated tears to my eyes. Meanwhile, far away inside a sprawling, luxurious villa, Chen Nuangchu had already abandoned the mahjong table. Her real reason for stepping away? She had to ruthlessly deal with Lorwyn, the absolute idiot who had just let the cat out of the bag. Dressed in casual clothes, Lao Wen frowned, looking resentfully at the wife who had utterly dominated him for years. He let out a heavy sigh and asked, "Honey, do you really think it's okay for us to do this? What if something goes seriously wrong?" Chen Nuan casually peeled an orange, handed a slice to Lao Wen, and furrowed her brow. There's a whole lot of messy drama going on between those two kids, but honestly, I've pretty much figured out the gist of it. Besides, has that little ingrate even bothered to call us or mention wanting to come home? She's been perfectly used to Su Yi waiting on her hand and foot for years, so just stop worrying about it. We've been watching Su Yi for 3 whole years now. Don't you know exactly what kind of guy he is? Let me tell you a little secret. That kid Su Yi actually smokes, but for the sake of our little ingrate, he hasn't touched a single cigarette in 3 long years. So tell me, what could possibly happen to her with him around? Lao Wen put down the orange, leaned back, tilted his head at Chen Nuan, and scowled. Oh, so Su Yi smoking is perfectly fine, but when I light up, it's treated like a capital offense? Chen Nuan, you're really crossing the line here, she just scoffed. Crossing the line or not, what are you going to do about it? Divorce me? I'm actually in a good mood today. I'll generously allow you to have exactly 2 cigarettes. Lao Wen acted as if he had just received an imperial decree from the heavens. He jumped straight up and trotted out to the balcony to puff away with his old buddies. In reality, Chen Nuan had already called Xiao Nuan earlier that day. She told her that as long as she admitted her mistake, she could get the house keys back and finally come home. But that stubborn little ingrate didn't say a single word and just slammed the phone down. She clearly had someone backing her up, so what on earth was there to worry about? Chen Nuan confidently returned to her mahjong table. Meanwhile, I pushed a shopping cart, wandering aimlessly through the supermarket aisles, wondering what the hell to make for dinner. In the end, I grabbed a section of pork intestines, some green beans, and a few mushrooms, but when I finally got back home, Xiao Nuan was already there waiting for me. She had actually gone out of her way to buy herself a ridiculous, bright yellow cartoon bear onesie. There she was, sitting cross-legged on the couch, hugging a huge bag of chips and glued to the TV. Seeing me standing frozen by the stairs, she dropped the chips, tilted her head back, and whined loudly, "Su Yi, I'm starving." I took a deep, grounding breath and asked her softly, "Are you seriously planning to stay here long-term?" Xiao Nuan nodded vigorously, like a kid making a promise. "I can pay for groceries and rent, I swear, Su Yi. I've been totally abandoned. I tried calling my mum, but she totally ignored me and texted me just to scold me instead." I held my hand out calmly. "Let me see the text." She flinched. I deleted it." "Are you just trying to use this as some lame excuse to snoop through my phone?" "Fine, here, look at it, just look. I'm going to the bathroom." Xiao Nuan clenched her fists and shouted defensively, "Du Zitang! He really is on my blacklist now." To be honest, there wasn't any massive dramatic reason for it. Xiao Nuan just absolutely refused to let that jerk ruin her mood anymore. "Oh, so you like foreign chicks? Well, guess what, buddy? This queen isn't serving you anymore." While I was quietly washing the vegetables, Xiao Nuan silently slipped right into the kitchen. With her hands clasped behind her back, she curiously eyed the fresh ingredients sitting in the sink. She leaned in and whispered, "Wow, these are all my absolute favorites. Weren't you scared that I wouldn't even come back today?" Without even turning my head, I just kept washing the vegetables with dead serious focus and replied softly, "Don't you absolutely hate the smell of the kitchen? So why exactly are you sticking around in here? Look, I'm not a picky eater. If you didn't come back, I would have just eaten it all myself." She let out a dramatic sigh. "Su Yi, you've really changed. Sure enough, men are just so incredibly fickle. We've only been officially divorced for a few days, and you're already acting so ice-cold toward me. Don't you forget, I'm still your creditor right now, so pay up, pay up. You claim you're not a picky eater, then why on earth didn't you buy any crabs?" Now, crabs were something Xiao Nuan always bought fully cooked and ready to eat. In all the long years we were married, she and I only ever really fought once. The reason? Xiao Nuan had randomly bought live crabs and demanded that I cook them. I just couldn't bring myself to kill them, so I secretly dropped them into the fish tank to keep as little pets. But then, the very next day, I caught Xiao Nuan ruthlessly tossing those lively, jumping crabs one by one straight into a pot of boiling water to steam them alive. For the entire rest of the night, my face was just incredibly dark and gloomy. I refused to make dinner, I didn't wash a single dish, and I absolutely didn't clean that kitchen. Looking back now, Xiao Nuan realized she had clearly said the wrong thing. But honestly, I didn't take it to heart anymore. I just turned around and silently walked right out of the kitchen. Just when Xiao Nuan panicked, thinking I was going on strike all over again, I suddenly came back. In my hand was a fresh carton of yogurt. "Here, go sit your butt on the couch and drink this. Don't bother me in here, especially now that we're divorced." I firmly decided I wasn't going to wait on Xiao Nuan hand and foot anymore. I swear, I don't have a single bone left in my body that wants to blindly pander to women. Everyone is strictly equal now. There's no superior and there's no inferior, even if you are technically my creditor right now. But to my surprise, Xiao Nuan didn't leave. She didn't even realize it. When she accused me of changing, she had completely changed too. Or maybe, it's just that the fragile relationship between us has permanently shifted. We're simply no longer husband and wife. Yeah, pork intestines really do taste a whole lot better with a ton of chili. Did you seriously forget how you almost died from the stomach pain in bed at 2 a.m. and how we spent half the damn night tossing and turning in the emergency room? That nightmare happened during the freezing winter of our second year of marriage. Xiao Nuan was throwing a massive fit, clamoring for spicy boiled fish, and she demanded it be extra spicy. Then, right in the dead of the night, she had to be rushed straight to the ER. The doctor quickly diagnosed it as a severe intestinal spasm. But the antispasmodic meds didn't work. The IV drips completely failed. In the end, there was absolutely nothing else the doctors could do. I could only force Xiao Nuan to keep drinking warm water to flush it out, and I stayed vigil right by her bedside for the entire agonizing night. I still remember Xiao Yuan tossing in that hospital bed, groaning and whining all night long, driving the other patients absolutely crazy with her crying. It felt like the whole world was crashing down on us. I nearly got into a brutal fistfight that night just to protect her, She remembered it too. But back then, facing all those odds, she just thought I was doing my job. Looking back now, surviving that chaos together was actually a rare, fleeting spark of happiness. After all, we were just trapped in a fake contract marriage. Then go easy on the seasoning. Crank up the heat a little, she ordered from the doorway. Is there soup? Yeah, I replied, stirring the pot. Egg drop. My lady, I sighed. If you're just going to stand there, could you at least help this humble servant set the bowls and chopsticks? She smirked. As you wish, eunuch Shu. Watching her strut out of the kitchen, I couldn't fight a bittersweet smile. Dinner was just a modest 3 dishes and a soup. Honestly, if she wasn't here, a tired guy like me wouldn't have even bothered cooking. At the dining table, the air was heavy. Neither of us said a single word. We just ate in comfortable, lingering silence. It felt like we had slipped right back into the rhythm of our 3 years together. Once we finally finished, I stood up to clear the wreckage. Shockingly, Xiao Yuan actually offered to help scrub the dishes. I crashed onto the sofa, but the second I flipped open my laptop to study, she was hovering over me. She had changed into some comfy, casual clothes. Eunuch Shu, she chimed, her eyes sparking. Want to go downstairs for a walk? This princess is graciously giving you the honor of being my bodyguard. I didn't even look up. Hard pass. Are you coming or not? She snapped. I've got stuff to read, I muttered. Xiao Yuan was fuming. She took a massive, deep breath, then suddenly flashed a dangerously brilliant smile, her voice dripping with sickening sweetness. Brother Shuwu, she cooed, leaning in. I'm so full from dinner, and I really want to take a little stroll downstairs. Shut up, I groaned. As a red-blooded guy, I stood absolutely zero chance against her armor-piercing cute girl magic. Defeated, I threw my hands up. All right, let's go. I had to admit, Xiao Yuan was absolutely stunning. Even completely barefaced. With her supermodel height and impossibly long legs, she turned heads literally everywhere she went. And honestly, standing next to her, I wasn't looking too shabby myself. We looked like the ultimate power couple. The second we stepped into the neighborhood courtyard, we became the absolute center of attention, drawing jealous stares from every direction. But the moment we hit the community basketball court, she dramatically threw a fit, whining that she couldn't walk another step. She claimed she desperately needed to hit the supermarket for water. What? I stared at the store, then glanced back at our apartment building in disbelief. I just shook my head. Hold out until we get home. Cheapskate, she muttered under her breath, before instantly jogging off toward the store with perfect energy. Yeah, so much for not being able to walk. Left standing there alone, I watched the guys running games on the court, debating if I should jump in and sweat out some stress. Right on cue, some 20-year-old kid rolled his ankle hard. Suddenly they were down a man for their full court game, and every single pair of eyes locked onto me. One guy jogged over, begging me to sub in for a few minutes until their backup arrived. It had been ages since I last touched a basketball. And man, was I rusty. After fumbling 2 painfully easy passes, I started getting dirty looks from the young bloods. But my pride? No way in hell was it letting me walk off that court in total disgrace. I ripped off my jacket and stepped back over the line. The next time the ball came to me, I didn't force a sloppy attack. I just breathed, letting my rhythm naturally kick back in. As the sweat started pouring, the old muscle memory flared to life. Fast break layups, silky three-pointers, vicious steals, no-look assists. Everything except rebounds. I was playing out of my mind, peaking hard, but just as I started getting cocky about schooling these kids, the entire vibe on the court flipped like a switch. Out of nowhere, these guys sped up, flying around like they were jacked up on steroids. One dude even threw down a monster slam dunk. While I was catching my breath in pure confusion, I caught the kid with the busted ankle, staring blankly toward the sidelines. I whipped my head around. Xiao Yuan was back, chilling on a bench holding my ringing phone. My husband doesn't need a door-to-door maid service, she was saying, and he definitely doesn't eat cheap snacks. She looked so impossibly innocent, yet completely deadpan. A sultry, breathy voice oozed through the speaker. Oh, my sweet little sister, you've got it all wrong. What man doesn't love to stray a little? The tame flowers at home can never quite match the thrill of the wild ones outside. Xiao Yuan didn't miss a beat. Well, he doesn't eat wild weeds, either. The woman on the line went dead silent, clearly offended. That savage little jab had completely shattered her fragile ego. I could actually hear her take a ragged breath to compose herself. Don't feel threatened, little sister. Big sister knows exactly how to make a man beg. Wow, auntie, you're super confident, Xiao Yuan chirped. But my husband only likes women with incredibly long legs. And wouldn't you know it, I'm exactly 1.72 meters tall. What about you, auntie? Have you even hit the 1.7 mark? Click. The call died instantly. And honestly, my game was over too. In those last few minutes, those enraged kids absolutely obliterated me. Then, under the burning, envious stares of every single guy on that court, I strolled right up to my jaw-dropping wife, snatched the water bottle from her hands and chugged it down. The message to the crowd was crystal clear. Back off. She's mine. I couldn't care less if those kids' hearts were breaking. I just glanced at the phone still in her hand, totally confused. Was that for me? She flashed a wicked smile and shook her head. Just a spam call. Honestly, watching you get crushed that badly out there, I couldn't bear to watch another second. So I picked it up to kill some time. How'd it go out there, old man? Starting to feel your age? Running out of stamina? I smirked right back at her. Please, with a top-tier beauty like you cheering for me, that's way more effective than any steroid. Let's head back. Otherwise, these kids are going to start treating me like their mortal enemy in love. But the very second those words left my mouth, the hard, rhythmic bounce of a basketball echoed right behind us. The same jerk who'd been dunking all game swaggered up right behind me. He smirked, demanding a one-on-one match. I didn't back down. Big mistake, I got completely and utterly demolished on the court. The guy was over the moon, convinced my humiliation would win him the goddess's favour, but his victory lap ended fast. He caught the goddess covering her mouth, giggling warmly at me. Yet when her gaze shifted to him, pure, absolute ice. Shanuan and I walked away, leaving the court in dead silence. The other guys completely lost their drive to play, slumping on the asphalt looking like crushed dreams. The dunking show-off let out a heavy, defeated sigh. Man, I am so done playing basketball. Wouldn't it be better to spend this time finding a girlfriend instead? Everyone around him nodded in silent, tragic agreement. Meanwhile, in a luxury downtown apartment, another woman stood furiously in front of her mirror, gritting her teeth. So what if she's 1.72 meters tall? Does that make her special? I'm practically 1.8 meters. Damn it all. This stupid tape measure is busted. How am I only 1.66? Back home, I crashed early. Between the divorce drama and getting wrecked on the court, I was physically and mentally drained. The absolute second my eyes closed, I was out cold. Meanwhile, Xianwan was wide awake in the master bedroom, idly scrolling through my antique brick of a phone. She stared blankly at the 2 saved contacts on the screen. Remembering how panicked that other woman sounded when she answered my call earlier, Xianwan couldn't shake the gut feeling that something was seriously off. Could Shui be cheating on me? She whispered. Was it possible that even before we signed the divorce papers, he was already hooking up with somebody else? Sure, he wasn't exactly obsessed with her. But still, how could he possibly have another woman lined up just 2 days after our marriage ended? The more Xianwan dwelled on it, the more her blood boiled. Fuming, she dialed a number. The call connected almost instantly. Her scowl vanished in a heartbeat. Narrowing her eyes, she pasted on a perfectly sweet, calculated smile. Manager Lee, oh, I am so sorry to bother you this late. You weren't asleep yet, were you? Obviously, you don't tell the company's vice president that you were sleeping. The poor guy on the other end practically tripped over himself, frantically insisting he was wide awake. Xianwan's smile deepened. I heard a little rumour that your application for annual leave got rejected a few days ago. Is there an emergency at home? Ah, I see. Well, tomorrow is Saturday, and then Sunday. Tell you what, take another 2 days off. Will 4 days be enough? Yes, that's more than enough, he stammered. Perfect. Then pop into the office tomorrow just to hand over your current tasks. I'll personally approve your leave request. After warming him up, Xianwan finally went in for the kill. Say, Manager Lee, I heard through the grapevine that your husband works in telecom. I have a certain phone number here. Could you do me a tiny favour and look it up? Oh, no rush at all. Just let me know whenever you have a spare second. I just need to know exactly who the SIM card is registered to. That's it. The second she hung up, Xianwan's face dropped back into a cold, deadly glare. Exactly 30 minutes later, Manager Lee called back. Desperate for her vacation time, she had literally kicked her husband out of bed and shoved him off to his office in the dead of night just to run the trace. But there was a catch. The phone number was protected by an insanely high security clearance. They hit a solid brick wall. Manager Lee nervously stammered out the bad news to the vice president. Luckily, her vacation was still approved though, counting the weekend. It was only 4 days total. Xiaonuan sat frozen on the bed, glaring at the mysterious number on the screen, muttering fiercely under her breath. This vanity number actually belongs to a VIP user? Who the hell is this? The rest of the 2-day weekend dragged on without any more drama. Xiaonuan snapped right back to her old married self, locking herself inside her room, completely buried in her endless corporate paperwork. Word was the city committee wanted several local corporations to bid on a massive plot of land, some beat-up, run-down residential district. Her investment and risk departments ran the numbers 100 different ways, and the verdict was brutal. It was a guaranteed, massive financial loss. Xiaonuan was losing sleep, terrified the committee would forcibly shove this toxic asset down her company's throat. Honestly, I couldn't be bothered to deal with her stress. I stayed strictly on the first floor, grinding away, researching every scrap of data I needed to turn my life around. By the afternoon, I'd hit the gym to blow off steam, though sadly nobody wanted to play basketball with me anymore. Those hot-headed kids on the court were convinced I was only showing up to flex on them. These past 48 hours had felt like an absolute eternity. My back was against the wall and I couldn't afford to waste a single damn minute. The crushing $4 million debt hanging over my head for the year literally made it hard to breathe. Yet, at the exact same time, it sparked a thrilling, desperate kind of fire in my gut. Come Monday morning, Xiaonuan practically inhaled her breakfast and rushed out the door for work. On her way out, she actually paused and asked if I needed a ride. I just shook my head. Nah, we're not heading the same way. Strangely enough, it seemed my absolute nightmare of a mother-in-law had entirely forgotten about her precious golden child. There hadn't been a single phone call from her all weekend, and I hadn't caught Xiaonuan taking any shady calls in the past 2 days either. I was honestly starting to get confused. It was one thing for the mother-in-law to go radio silent, but that rich playboy overseas hadn't called her a single time either. Did Xiaonuan actually block him? Seriously, what kind of twisted mind game was this woman pulling now? Little did I know, thousands of miles across the ocean, a fully grown man was currently curled up in bed, staring blankly at his ceiling like he'd just lost his entire will to live. He was racking his brain, completely failing to figure out what Xiaonuan was playing at. How the hell could she just block him out of absolutely nowhere? Panicking, he'd called his assistant for intel, only to get slapped with the ultimate gut punch. Xiaonuan and her husband had apparently jetted off on a makeup honeymoon. He was so furious his stomach literally cramped up, looking like he might drop dead from pure rage right there on the spot. The jerk muttered, "When I get back to the States, the very first thing I will do is completely crush Shu Yi. I cannot believe I let that absolute country bumpkin beat me to the punch." But whatever, back to my own messy reality. Arriving at the company headquarters once again, I had definitely learned my lesson. If I dared to jaywalk across the plaza in front of Glory Group, I honestly might get run over by that absolute psycho of a woman. During my 3 long years with Xiaonuan, I learned exactly how brutal the massive gap between the filthy rich and the dirt poor really is. At the exact same time, I also developed a pretty strong aversion to supposedly flawless, beautiful women. Those stunning girls who look perfectly glamorous on the outside are highly likely to be total disasters at home, just like Xia. After all, Shia Yuan once casually mentioned that 90% of women living alone are exactly like that behind closed doors. That single brutal sentence completely shattered every last beautiful illusion I had left in my head. Shaking it off, I confidently walked through the grand doors of Glory Group without a single hitch. This time around, all the corporate employees were actually here, bustling and ready for work. Back in a crisp, tailored suit, I looked pretty damn sharp. I strolled right up to the front reception desk, flashed my ID, and finally got my hands on my official employment contract. Right after I signed my name on the dotted line, the young receptionist pulled out a piece of candy and gently set it down on top of the contract. She smiled warmly, her eyes curving into cute little crescents as she said, "Welcome to Glory Group. This sweet candy is a little welcome gift straight from the company." She explained that it symbolizes completely forgetting all the harsh bitterness of yesterday and promises that your new work life here at Glory Group will be sweet. The girl had a round, incredibly adorable face that instantly put me at ease. I gave her a genuine smile, feeling a real spark of hope as an underdog finally catching a break, and was just about to reply.